Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. And the title of this video is called Clueless Passport Bros. You are getting finessed by Colombianas and Filipinas, says Loudmouth Lady. Now, the way this video came about was I was watching several different streams today. There was a lot of Passport Bros streaming and also some naysayers as well. And so anyway, one of the our naysayers, I noticed that he started interviewing a lot of like foreign women and that kind of thing. So he has a panel in which and I don't want to mention names because I don't want to give people credit, but he was interviewing some Filipinas and trying to find out about them, like why do you like American men and all this kind of stuff. And the main reason for that is because this guy has been a former dating coach. So what he kind of wanted to do was somewhat expose, quote unquote, expose us as being guys who get finessed by women and we don't know any better. We don't know the female's nature. And we need, of course, him and all these dating coaches to save us and teach us some games so that we're not getting finessed and all this kind of stuff. Just another cheap ploy to bring us back on a plantation because they're getting desperate because they're losing lots of subscribers, lots of business. They can't sell their courses anymore, that kind of thing. So you have that going on, and of course there was a video by on Brazil Yes's channel, which a lady was trying to give Pastor Bros advice and trying to say, "Oh, it's not going to work. You guys going to these foreign countries." Of course, they give the little story of I know a person who knows a person, and that person for whatever reason got finessed, and they brought him back to the States. It didn't work. Stop. Y'all don't need to do this. You're gonna get finessed. So you have that going on. Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to touch on that a little bit, and then also there was talk about foreign women being overhyped. Shout out to my guy like BMT. It's not not this. I know he was trying to debunk this whole situation, so I'm just want to add to this. He had a great stream, so I just want to add to his stream as well when he talked about because he's touching on some of the stuff I'm talking about as well, as far as like these dating coaches try to once again bring us back on a plantation and try pretty much for the most part trying to say that foreign women are overhyped, you guys are doing too much. um and to add to that, I think Austin also was doing a stream in which he was interviewing some Brazilian women. A naysayer called in trying to say, "Oh, I can get those same women here in the States." No, you cannot. But yeah, so right now there's a big these dating coaches and some of these women, they're feeling a pain from us traveling. We're no longer giving them the attention they used to receive. We're not going to their channels. We're not viewing them. We're not simping for them anymore. And they're starting to really feel it. So they're starting to there's a big backlash, especially today over these past couple of days. It's starting to turn into almost harassment. Um, so yeah, so just to kind of talk on this a little bit. So let's get to this whole thing about us being finessed. First off, I don't know why they keep assuming that most of Passport Bros that we're just like children. We don't have any experience dealing with women. If anything else, I want to say, really, if you've been dating in the United States, I want to say that you've been dating in one of the hardest dating markets. Period. Because in my opinion, it's mostly catered to the women. The men are pretty much at a disadvantage. So I want to say that you've kind of been in one of the most toughest dating markets, and as a result, you've dealt with some of the most difficult women. So I just believe by like dealing with those women to some degree, if you can deal with those women, you can deal with women almost anywhere. I'll say that. So that being said, we've been exposed to a whole lot of different women that like to scheme, play games. People talk about being finessed and drugged. You do understand that can happen right here in the States. There's women in Las Vegas a lot of times that pick up men, they drug them, they steal their stuff. You got that going on. That there actually was an app in which I forgot the name of the app in the States. The way the app worked was you would sign up and go on dates with different types of people, in the United States. And what happened was, and this actually happened in California, one of the women actually set up a few guys to get robbed. So the guys would actually meet up with the girl on the app to go out for dinner, and the girl would have like some of her like boyfriends or something, like the guys that were like in a gang, and they would find a guy, rob him and stuff, and then they'd flee. So I said that to say that people act like it's so much safer in the States as far as dating, and that you can't have people trying to rob you and mug you, especially in this economy. There was recently a dentist that I believe in Los Angeles again. He was posting, he was showing off like a lot of his jewelry and stuff on, I believe it was on Instagram. They pretty much found him and robbed him, and I said it to say that a lot of these horror stories people talk about overseas or like South America, you got a lot of that stuff going on right now. Specifically in New York, you got the little biker gang situation in which you got little gangs pulling up on bikes, robbing people, just like in Colombia. So I say to say that a lot of stuff that can happen in Colombia, a lot of that can happen anywhere. Now I'm not saying be naive and go down to countries outside of the U.S. and just let your guard down. I think you should keep your guard up everywhere. If I don't really know know the people I'm dealing with, I just have my guard up. But especially obviously when you go into countries that are a little bit poorer, people are in survival mode. So you just got to be, you got to be careful. But as I said before, I know a lot of the guys listen to me now. You guys are, very, very wise, intelligent, and for the most part, like as we always say, like for in order to be traveling, period, you already got to have some type of, not a lot of money, but to some degree, your finances are going to be in order. So a lot of guys that listen to this video and a lot of the passport bros in general, these are guys of means. You guys got your head on straight. So that being said, I just think it's very annoying that so many podcasters and these females just think that we're just so naive and clueless, and we don't know anything. They just feel like we don't know anything about female nature. Not to mention that if a lot of these dating coaches, to be honest, I'm sure a lot of them take L's in the States. It's not like um, they never, take a L or a girl flakes on them and this kind of stuff. That happens all the time. And as a lot of the passport bros have mentioned, um, they never show any types of receipts, but they're constantly talking about that we need their services. We don't know if these guys are picking up, because the biggest thing is I just feel like a lot of guys that listen to me and some of the passport bros, I just think that at worst, I mean, like put it this way, we've never claimed that people are getting, the women are perfect overseas, and that when you go over there, it's just like all the women say yes. That's just not true. There are some women that I've approached that are not necessarily interested, and there's some I approach that are interested. The biggest difference is that in the States, a lot of times when women are turning you down, they do it a lot of them do it in a very rude manner. They give you this very cold look. But in most, especially like in Colombia or Brazil, they tend to be a little bit more like polite when they, if they turn you down. That's really the biggest thing that I think like a lot of men just want. It's not about necessarily, needing all the women to say yes. It's just a matter of the politeness and interaction you have with a lot of the women. You just find out in a lot of countries outside of the U.S., the women tend to be a little bit more polite. Not that there aren't any rude or snooty women, but it's nowhere on the extreme as it is in the United States. So that being said, now I want to lead into also when I was watching Osa Holloman's video, he interviewed a few Brazilian women. One of them happened to be like a somewhat quote unquote feminist. She was speaking very good English. And she was trying to collab with this guy that also was this guy from the US that was a naysayer that also had brought on the stream. She was trying to agree with him, and she claims that a lot of us just, we just like to bash women. That's why we say all these things about the difference between American women and foreign women, and nothing is further from the truth. Myself and plenty of the passport bros, especially Brazil, yes, we have not called any women out of their names. We have not said anything derogatory about these women. For the most part, a lot of these women have been stalking and harassing us, putting up videos, all kinds of stuff. You know, what yeah, so it has nothing to do with bashing women. I mean, it's just ridiculous. If anything else, I want to say that we really just love and appreciate the women, especially in other countries. And we have nothing against American women, and we have never said that there are none um that there are no decent American women. There are some. It's just not a lot. It's just not a lot. And the ones that are good, in my personal opinion, those are the ones that typically get married, get snatched up, because there's not a lot of them in general. So, and also to add to that, I'm trying to think who brought up this other point as well. Actually, I was watching another stream in which a guy made a great point in which you also got to consider the fact that the American media has really tried to down the image of especially like black men, and not just black men, even white, just men in general. You know, you got like Homer Simpson, who's supposed to be the dumb husband. He needs his wife to do everything for him. You got several shows and movies that always show men as being idiot and or weak in need of women to save them. I mean, it's just like they just really have tarnished the image of men in general. So it's kind of, I mean, especially for black men in general, it's kind of hard to get a decent level of respect, around the house. And then as I've stated in several of my videos, they've just really devalued the man in general. So it kind of puts men at a disadvantage in the dating market versus you go outside of the country. Um, the governments, they don't have the money that the United States has, so they can't just prop up feminism the same way they do it in the States. So even though people talk about traces of feminism in these other countries, I can assure you it's nowhere on the stream as it is in the West. There's traces there, but they don't have the programs, the funds to really prop it up as it is. As long as there's capitalism, there's always going to be some countries that are less off than others. As a result, some of those countries are not going to be able to prop up these movements like feminism in their country as they do in the West. So if anything happened, for example, let's say in Brazil, for whatever reason, their economy does well, there's more, they start really pushing this feminism thing there. I mean, all the guys got to do is really just go over to the next country. I mean, if anything else, we'll just start going to Peru. Some men will probably start pouring over into like Argentina or some of these other little, country, like I think it's called Uruguay, Paraguay, those other countries that are a little less traveled. Men will just start going there instead. They just start frequenting those countries instead. So me personally, I'm not really worried about that when I keep hearing about people talking about feminism. But put it this way, in almost every country, you're gonna have a degree of snooty people. That being said, you're gonna run into some snooty women, even in poor countries like Cuba. Like if you go to some of the parts that have a little bit more, money, a little bit more education, that kind of thing. Of course, you're gonna find some women there that kind of stick their nose up at some of the poorer, poor people of their country. So of course, when you run into those women, that you're gonna feel that they've been somewhat indoctrinated. But again, those women don't represent majority of the women in those countries. So yeah, you will run into some of those women there, but once again, it's nowhere on the extreme as it is in the States. Um, yeah, and let me get back to this thing about being finessed. The other thing about this is keep in mind that Hugh Hefner, a lot of the women he dated and married, I'm pretty sure that he knows, most people know that a lot of those women, if he didn't have the money he had, they really wouldn't be dating him. But here's the thing, when you look at him, did he look unhappy? Did he look like he wasn't having a good time or who he's sad or depressed? Never looked depressed. He enjoyed being with all those women. He had all types of women. I mean, he can pick blondes, brunettes, tall, short, thick, whatever he wanted. And I mean, and a lot of that was transactional. I mean, to me, it didn't look like he didn't die an unhappy man. I can tell you that. I can tell you he died, pretty happy with those women at his side. So that being said, when some of these older men, I'm talking like the men who are probably in their 60s, 70s, or something like that. I mean, a lot of them, they probably already had their wives, they had their children. They probably just want somebody here and there to cook for them or, give them a massage and give them some play, like that kind of thing. And they're okay with that. I mean, I don't know what this is with where they think that, because there was a study talking about rise of lonely men. Sometimes men just like being alone. This is where you get the idea of a man cave. Men like sometimes to be by themselves and they're alone. They're not depressed or they're happy. Some men just like it like that. So when you're looking at some men go overseas and they're like, oh, those young women are finessing him, they're taking advantage. In some cases, I mean, I'm not saying in all cases this is not the case, but in some cases, no. A lot of men there, they're very much aware of like the women, why the women, some of the women are there and what they're doing. And again, this also goes back to the stereotype that all the women there that are chasing American men are just these gold digging, cold hearted women who just look at men as just like ATMs, as if the women in the states are not looking for men with money. Most women of all cultures, of all countries, they're not looking to date the fry guy at McDonald's. That's not what they're really chasing after. There's a reason why when men go to the NBA, they have to have like meetings and give and kind of um give some of the men lessons about some of the type of women they're going to be dealing with. Because there's plenty of American women throwing themselves at these basketball players, actors, that kind of thing. So let's not act like only overseas this kind of stuff happens. Because we can easily point to some of these basketball players who look like balled up fists, and they got this beautiful woman on their arm, and it's obvious. I mean, we can talk about being finesse. I mean, you can be right here in the States and get finesse, but not all of the basketball players, rappers, that kind of thing are being finessed by women. Some of these women that they meet actually generally are interested in them. Of course, as I said before, having status, having money, having looks, of course, those things help. But I don't know what this is with people just thinking that we're just going overseas and get finessed and all the women just want us for our money. Um, I mean, as I said before, you know, a lot of women you meet there. I mean, they're just looking for a good man, just like any other woman. Um, and like I said, put it this way, from just personal experience, nobody's gonna like. You can't put it this way, you can't beat experience. You can't beat experience. All you got to do is talk to plenty of men. You have soldiers that live in these countries. Just talk to them and ask them about their experiences, and they'll tell you that while in any country, there's always going to be some women there that are like gold diggers, but majority of those women are not like that at all. And many of those women, many of those women in general do not want to come back to the States. They're happy there with the passport bros that they meet. They're happy hanging out with them. I've met plenty of girls and their families. They've shown me their families. I've had plenty of the girls I've talked to that have wanted to, take things further, start relationships with me. And not just me, like, other guys as well. You'll just find out when you get there. As soon as you just get there and start talking to some of the women, you will completely see the difference in the culture. So, um, that's all I wanted to say about this topic. I don't want to keep it long. And until next time, please subscribe to my channel. If you have not, hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell. Please leave some comments. Tell me what you think about this whole topic and this whole thing with the dating coaches trying to bring us back in, and now on their channels they're interviewing all these foreign women now, even though they claim they're doing so well in the States with women, which is why I'm still surprised. If you're doing so well in the States, you're doing all this stuff, why are you so worried about us? But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section, and until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.